listening to the Nerdy Reads podcast, a hipster goblin media production.
Hello to all our friends from the Nerdverse. Welcome to the Nerdy Reads podcast. We read nerdy stuff such as sci-fi, fantasy books, comics, manga, and horror. And we also discuss all other nerd things from around the globe. Stephen King said, books are the perfect entertainment. No commercials, no batteries, hours of enjoyment for each dollar spent. What I wonder is why everyone doesn't carry a book around for those inevitable dead spots in life. Well, we're digging into a King book today, and we're going to start journeying. Man, that's a tough word for me to say. Through You Like It Darker in our first ever extended book club. My two bros here are going to test out the latest and greatest item from Taco Bell, and we will discuss some nerdy news and much more on this week's episode. I am one of your hosts, Justin, and with me is my friend and colleague and bro, Robert. What's up, dude?
Justin, what's going on, man? As always, I'm excited for another episode of the Nerdy Reads podcast. I just actually got done listening to the latest Optic Blast broadcast. If you guys are into comics, and even if you're not, go over there and give them a listen. They had a great guest this week. It was really informative. I'm now kind of a Daredevil fan, and I've never read the comic, but I'm going to, and that is largely in part thanks to he's got to get his hand out of the Wolverine popcorn bucket first. It's Dylan.
What's up, brother?
No. What a way to start, man.
It's good to be back, boys, after my little hiatus there. But I'm excited for this episode and to be back with you guys. So, yeah, let's get into it.
We've missed you. Robert, you got a question for us today, bro?
I do, guys. In honor of our latest food crime here at the Nerdy Reads podcast, I want to know, have you tried any other weird, gimmicky fast food items in the past? Or if you haven't, if you're like a normal person, dude, what's your go-to Taco Bell order?
The most gimmicky item I have ever tried was there was a time when there was a pickle flavor icy at Sonic, and I gave that a go. Now, that was the weirdest thing I've ever had. I don't even like pickles like that, but it was, it was what it was. Now, as far as like my go-to items, dude, I like bean burritos or bean and cheesy rice burritos from Taco Bell. No cheese, add enchilada sauce and get that thing grilled, bro.
I used to be a little chicken burrito guy when they were $1 at Taco Bell. And then usually were like, hey man, they'll grill any item you ask them to grill. So I started getting those things grilled. I miss that $1 chicken burrito. What about you, Dylan?
So I think I have two things that I would consider not normal. One's more normal than the other one. The first one would be something we tried on this show, and that was the Cheez-It from or the KFC. That was probably the weirdest thing. But I also had something called the smothered burrito from Taco Bell that I used to get way back in the day. And it was basically just a burrito with like sour cream and their like hot sauce on it or something like that. So that was pretty good. And then my go-to Taco Bell order, though, every single time, never fails, I get 3 5-layer burritos. No beans. I've got that for like a decade. I get it every single time I go. So, yeah, never changes. I kept them in business for the longest time, and then they decided to triple their prices, and I quit going. But they had to compensate for the lack of business that I gave them, so understandable.
I actually remember that smothered burrito. That was my wife Veronica's go-to item for a long time before they got rid of it. But I posted this in our Discord earlier. Without question, the weirdest item I've ever consumed from a fast food restaurant was from a Hardee's or a Carl's Jr., depending upon what part of America you're at. It's probably been 8 years, but they came out with a burger called America's Thick Burger, and it was their quarter-pound patty. They took a hot dog and split that thing in the middle so it covered the bun, and then on the bottom there was potato chips with all the toppings of a regular burger: ketchup, mustard, pickle, lettuce, tomato, all of it's on there. It was a food crime, one that still haunts me to this day.
Hardee's is kind of a trash fast food anyway.
Really, if you go to Hardee's, you're not happy about it. It's like you're on a road trip and that's the exit at the, like, you're at some questionable gas station and there's a Hardee's across the street. So it's like, I'm here.
I mean, big BK's better, That's saying something. It's true, though. It's true.
We had some people shout off for Burger King in our Discord. User Joshua actually said he liked Rally's burgers better, but Burger King is better than McDonald's. I don't co-sign any of those statements, but like what you like. And then Travis from the Last Co-op podcast said he had a ghost pepper Whopper with an orange bun from Burger King. That sounds foul, so that's on brand for that fast food restaurant.
Well, there you go, guys. If you want to try foul things or you want us to try some of that kind of stuff, hey, get and join our Discord. What a segue. All right, let's get into some book happenings. We have a couple of these today. The Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association has released their statement on generative AI. In case you are wondering who the SFPA is, they were founded as the Science Fiction Poetry Association in 1978 to bring poets and readers interested in speculative poetry together. They recognize and support creative talent of human beings. Essentially, what they're saying is they love the idea of people using tools to create art and all that kind of stuff, but they will not be accepting art that has been created by AI, saying that, hey, that work is a lot of times taken from a person, because a lot of AI generated art is something that has been found that somebody else created. Essentially, it's plagiarism. They will not be accepting any of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to ask you guys this. We've talked about AI art and creation before and how powerful a tool that it is, and we've actually tinkered with some of that before after a show, and we were just messing around with what Canva can even do, and it was so crazy. But what are your thoughts on people utilizing it to tell stories?
I don't like it.
Sure.
I think it's strange. Like, if it's your story, tell the story. Because if you take an element of your story and have artificial intelligence write it for you, that's not really yours, man. That's weird. Yeah. So I guess I'm not for that. I know there was like some controversy with writers having their names like altered a little bit, like by one letter, and people were posting AI stories that they just generated, threw together and threw on Amazon to sell last year. Like, that stuff's scary to me, dude.
It is. Dylan?
I feel like when it comes to AI, like if it's literally just writing out the story for you, I feel like that isn't something I would be supportive of. But if you are able to utilize AI as a tool to enhance the story in any way, I feel like that's okay. Like, I think I watch these videos on YouTube of that just so happen to be about Star Wars, and like it's called, the guy that does it, he calls it like If the Last Jedi Was Good, basically. And he retells the story with the same characters, and he makes his own story, but he uses AI art as a background for that to give a picture of the story that goes along with it. So I think in that case, AI is great for storytelling when it brings a visual element to it or enhances what you already have, versus just making it strictly from AI. I don't necessarily think I support strictly made from AI stuff. I think that's just kind of very lazy. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if most people that do Hollywood stuff that's probably what they do. And that's why we get terrible stories right now. But anyway, that's my take.
Well, it's interesting. I saw that there were actually people who are farmed out and hired out to take AI and utilize it in a way to make stories and to help do things for companies and stuff. And I was like, man, it's a whole thing now. And it's just crazy. Last time we had Keaton on, he talked about how he used AI to create the background story for his Dungeons and Dragons character. So if you're doing that, whatever, bro. If you don't want, I think that's cool. That's fine. I'm not going to hate on you for not creating your background story for your Dungeons and Dragons character, but I'm with you. When it comes to books and things like that, I think that when we see it from the mind of a person and something that they created, it's just such a different thing than if I were to look at it and say, hey, AI created this thing. It just isn't the same deal. Like, I'm impressed when, like, even when we're reading these short stories, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but when you read a Stephen King book, you're like, how did this dude think of these things? Versus, if it's AI, you're like, oh, a machine created this. Okay.
Neat.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next up, we have Kindle is coming out with some deals right now. And we're not talking about books. Sure, they always have books that are on sale. We're talking about Amazon Prime Day. If you don't have a Kindle, now might be the time for you to jump in and get on a Kindle. They have several bundles, and they're just the Kindles themselves that are on sale right now. You can get the Kindle Essential Bundle, including a Kindle 2022 release, 16 gigabyte for $154.97. The Paperwhite Essentials Bundle for $184.97. You can even get the Scribe Essential, which comes with the pen and all that good stuff, for $389.97. So those are some pretty cool deals. If you don't have a Kindle, it might be a good time for you to consider jumping on the Kindle bandwagon. Robert, you have a Kindle. I had one until my dog ate it, but
I could probably turn around and grab 3 Kindles off the shelf behind me. We have Kindles all over this house, dude. We've been a Kindle stand for years. Kindle Unlimited is one of the best values. If you're a reader of any type, you will find something on Kindle Unlimited you love. It is the Netflix for book readers. It is a fantastic subscription. I do 90% of my reading on a Kindle. Easy recommend for me.
Yep. I did until Bruno ate it. So now I have an iPad that I do most of my reading from, but Kindles are great. And so right now might be a good time for you to jump in. Speaking of jump in, it's time for us to jump into a new segment. It's time for Nerdy Reads Reviews. Hey, we have Manga Madness, we have Comic Corner, and now we wanted to share a new segment brought to you by Optic Blast Broadcast that will be making its appearance from time to time, called Nerdy Reads Reviews, where we will share a quick book review as we read them. Robert, you got the first one, so take it away, my friend.
I'm excited, dude. This was my book of the month selection for last month. It's called The Return of Ellie Black. It was written by Miko Jean. It is a mystery thriller. It's about a 17-year-old girl who goes missing and the case goes cold, which is pretty common. However, the twist of this one is 2 years later, the detective gets a call and Ellie Black just comes back. She resurfaces one day, and this creates more questions than answers. So it's a page-turning thriller, dude. I had a hard time putting this book down. It takes that common thriller trope I talked about, like kidnapping, but it makes you work it from backwards. You're like kind of going through her psyche, figuring out what happened to her. And I thought that was a really cool twist that you don't really get in the kidnapping stories, because most of the time it's like they either find the person or unfortunately they don't. And the book kind of, it's like, why did this person do this? Well, this one she's found, and you just go in her head. And it's pretty messed up at times. But one reason I'll give it a strong recommendation, the story wasn't overly graphic in its violence, given the theme and the tone. It really could have been, especially since it was dealing with kids. I was like kind of mentally preparing myself for some of the darker things that may come, but it's mostly fade to black. And like some of the horrific things are like Ellie recounting them to her therapist or friends. I appreciated that about this book. I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's the perfect summer thriller read.
Hey, that sounds really cool, man. So everybody, like Robert just said, he gave us that recommendation. We will be doing these from time to time, especially since we are switching her up to do more of a book club style thing. We still wanted to throw reviews out, and as we read them, because we still are going to be reading things on our own, and they're going to be things that relate to the show. And so we wanted to be able to share in those things with you. And so be looking out for more Nerdy Reads reviews, and be looking out, because here in just a second, my dudes are going to be trying to food crime in the New Stuff Cafe. We'll be right back in just a second.
Man, maybe I shouldn't diss rallies so heavily when I haven't been to one in like 2 decades. Tell me what the order is, Josh. Hop in the Discord, let me know your rallies order, and I'll slide by and get it for lunch.
That's like my man has been processing. And here we are, like we haven't talked about fast food in 10 minutes. And now he goes back.
We haven't been talking about it, but I've been kind of like looking up fast food stuff. And I'm like, I wonder where people rank fast food French fries, fast food fries ranked. And Rally's is like in the top 5 on a lot of these lists. And I'm like,
Rally's curly fries are actually not bad.
Like this,
dude, I mean, Maggie likes Rallies. That's why when you were like, Rallies is awful. I mean,
Delish.com put Rallies Fry as number 1.
That's what
over all of them.
That's what a lot of people say that, dude. That's what I'm saying.
I apologize, Josh. I was unfamiliar with your game.
Welcome back to the New Stuff Cafe. We'll be hitting a few topics, but before we do, Robert, what are you guys having?
Today, we're having... Actually, dude, let me start that over. Rewind. You have to go all the way back to 2010 to when KFC started the fast food crazy gimmick war with the Double Down. It was a sandwich with 2 pieces of chicken, and in between it was a slice of cheese and bacon, some weird sauce. And then in 2012, Taco Bell's like, what up? Doritos Loco Taco. The shell is a Dorito. That thing took the world by storm, sold 400 million something tacos in like a year. Taco Bell had to hire all this staff to keep up with demand, and that kicked off like a fast food gimmick war. Since then, we've had some crazy things in our fast food history, from the Cheez-It, from the KFC had like a chicken that was folded over as a taco. Pizza Hut had a burger with little cheeseburgers and hot dogs at the end of it. There's been some weird stuff out there. We're back. Taco Bell has a Crunchwrap. Instead of the tortilla, it's a giant Cheez-It. And I'm terrified, boys. My Crunchwrap is the soggiest thing I have ever picked up. I paid $5.69 for this. I have 7 packs of Diablo sauce in front of me because I feel like that's how much I'm going to need to get through this. I'm excited to dive in.
Isn't KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut all owned by the same people?
They are, and they are all owned by Yum Brands.
I feel like Pizza Hut and now we have Taco Bell both done Cheez-Its. They're really trying to make Cheez-It on food a thing. Didn't Pizza Hut have something too?
Yeah, Pizza Hut actually had a Cheez-It pizza that I reviewed. It was about 2019, I think it came out. I used to do like little stupid videos and post them up of me trying terrible food. That was a good one, dude. It actually looked like a Cheez-It. It was square shaped and everything. And then you just bit into it and the pizza came out. It was something.
That sounds nice. All right, boys. I'm excited to get y'all's reaction on your Crunchwrap Cheez-Its.
For reference on the sogginess that Robert was talking about, so my Cheez-It is sticking out of the corner. It has broken the shell open and you can see it. And I can take it and move it up and down and it does not break. So it is still connected and just wobbly.
Flexible Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
One side of mine does not appear to have any Cheez-It, and the other side has it breaking out the side like Dylan. So I'm going to go into where the Cheez-It side is to give this a go. Skull for food.
Yeah. Skull works for all of it. I can't tell by reactions. Both your faces look like it could be okay. I can't tell.
So my brother tried this tonight and he messaged me and said it tastes like a sandal.
What a great description. It tastes like a sandal. How do you know? How do you know that?
I don't know how he knows, and I don't know how I know, but he's right. It tastes.
Dylan, I want your hot take because I feel like Dylan's going to come in and be like, it's actually pretty solid. Go ahead, Dylan.
Okay. For reference, when I go to Taco Bell, I don't like their lettuce. I'm not a big fan of their lettuce. I don't love tomatoes. So normally anything I get will not have lettuce or tomatoes on it. With this, I wanted the full experience. So I compromised. I still got lettuce. I did not get tomatoes. If this didn't have lettuce on it, I might order it again.
Oh. Dylan likes sandals.
But let me get one more bite. Because I feel like I got a little bit of that sandal taste that last bite I just had. Let me get one.
I took 3 bites. I'm a believer in the 3-bite rule. But while you're taking that third bite, there's a website called cheapism.com that listed some of the food crimes in the past 10 years that have come out. And a lot of them we talked about are on here. Justin's pickle slushy from Sonic is right at the forefront. And and the Pizza Hut Cheez-It pizza, which we reviewed on this here show, is on there. Arby's Meat Mountain, which I get one of those every year annually. It's a great sandwich. I think, did we do the Arby's Meat Mountain on this show?
You did.
All right. Yeah, great sandwich. And last but not least, Burger King, which I completely forgot about, had mac and Cheetos, where they took fried Cheetos and stuffed them with mac and cheese.
I remember this now. So is this the final? So if we were to score it right now out of 10, Robert, what do you got?
I feel like I would rather just have the regular Crunchwrap. Like, I miss that crunch. Now, this was really soggy. Maybe if I eat it at the Taco Bell, it might be different. I'm going to give this one 3 Yokiros out of 10.
All right. Dylan.
So for me, like I said earlier in the show, other than the smothered burrito, my Taco Bell order has not changed over like the past 10 years. And this isn't enough to make me want to change that. So I would give it like a 6.
Ooh. So a little above mid, but kind of mid. All right. That's fair. All right. Oh, hey, guys, listen, I want to start a new segment here in the New Stuff Cafe. And this is brought to you by a show that's going to be coming out very soon called Anime Tofu. It is called
It's Spawned from Discord.
No, boy.
I'm going to bring up some things that have been brought up in the Discord for us to run through here on the show. Hey, if you're on a part of our Discord, join the conversation. It's a Hipster Goblin Media Discord. So I'm going to bring in a few things that we have talked about throughout the Discord for us just to kind of discuss here on the show to kind of further that discussion. So in a few words, Dylan, we'll start with you. How excited are you about Alien Romulus?
What?
Oh, that excited? Are you not an Aliens guy?
I am more of a Predator guy than an Alien guy.
I like that with Dylan. It always has to be one or the other. It has to be one. It can't be that and it has to be I'm this or I'm that. I'm not both. I have to be one or the other. It's fair.
Maybe I'll watch it.
All right. Robert, you're an Aliens fan.
I am, dude.
We both are. So what about you, man?
Oh, I'm excited for this movie. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched the new trailer yet. I'm probably going to do that the moment we finish this episode. And then also, just in case you guys don't know, there's going to be an Alien TV series dropping next year as well. So bring me more Xenomorphs, man. I'm stoked for it. I'm really hyped to hear that this one's supposed to be going back to the horror roots of the first one. So I'm looking forward to that.
It is a horror movie. The original is as well.
Oh.
No, there was some debate on that, but yes. It's an 80s horror movie type vibe. All right. There's been lore on the show. It's also just something that I think is insanely popular for no good reason whatsoever. So I want to go ahead and ask you guys the question. Robert, we'll start with you. Would you buy a limited edition popcorn bucket of any kind?
Of any kind.
Yeah, dude. Like we've seen, there's a popcorn. So last time I went to the movie theater. Shut up, Dylan. Last time I went to the movie theater, there was the Dune popcorn bucket, right? And there it is.
Definitely buy that one. All butter, no popcorn.
Hey, here we go. But then, when the Kung Fu Panda came out, it also had a popcorn bucket. It seems to be the thing now. If a movie comes out, it's going to be popular. There's a popcorn bucket. Would you buy a popcorn bucket? Okay,
I 100% would. But as you were with me having dinner on Saturday with my lovely wife, and I tried to order a $33 triple bypass hamburger, and she told the waitress no while I was mid-order. She would stop. I would try to order the popcorn bucket, and she would shut it down. She'd have to be at the seat first. So if she wasn't standing next to me, 100% that popcorn bucket's coming home.
Dylan.
So it's funny that you say that because I actually have a limited edition 25th anniversary Phantom Menace popcorn bucket at my home. And I also will be buying, I will mention this on Nerdy News today, I will be buying the Daredevil. I keep saying, getting them mixed up. Deadpool and Wolverine. I did it on Optic Blast broadcast this past week, but Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket I will be purchasing.
Yes.
One as soon as it comes out.
So there's one of each, right? Are you getting both?
It's just Wolverine, dude.
I think
it's just Wolverine.
I think
nice. So there's not a Deadpool one.
They didn't. It didn't show it in the little trailer that dropped it up. Like I said, I'll be talking about that.
So if it was both, would you get both?
Oh yeah.
All right.
I can't wait to hear about this on Nerdy News, dude.
All right. Next question. Would you buy a book from an exclusive retailer for additional chapters in said book?
If I'm already interested enough to buy the book, if there is a retailer, it's like, hey, we have a bonus chapter, I'm probably going to buy it from them because I want to feel like I got the full experience. I'm not really a fan of that bonus chapters and books, but it really shouldn't surprise me because video games and movies have been doing this for years. And honestly, I wasn't a fan of that either. No. So it's kind of scummy, but I would buy the book from the retailer that had the bonus content.
I think the thing that sucks about it is that books has always felt like a different thing than those things. Like it's felt like this pure version of entertainment, and now it just feels like it's gotten tainted by exclusive DLC. Essentially, if you buy this book from Target, you get 3 additional chapters or you get some side story. It's like, why?
Dude, I respect that because on one end, the big box store like Target that can afford to pay the publisher for exclusive chapters is taking sales away from the little mom and pop bookstore on the corner trying to survive,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of schemy, dude. I would. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough, dude. It's tough. All right. Next question. Here we go. Are we eating red vines on the show at some point? Robert posted red vines. I feel like red vines. I've had a couple people ask me about red vines. Are we doing red vines?
I posted a pack of red vines that have movie theater butter popcorn flavored red vines in it. And I said, this is a Dewey product. Dylan, are we trying red vines on this show?
I'm down for it. I'm down to give it a try.
See, Dylan was there though when we saw a dude take 3 red vines, wrap them over a pipe in the ceiling, and do pull-ups, and the red vines didn't snap.
Dude,
that can't be good for your innards.
So those are the same thing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
They're like the more intense Twizzlers. Like Twizzlers, you can actually chew and eat. Red vines, like they stay in your gullet for like a year or something. I mean, I'm making this all up, but Dylan's ready for red vines. All right, last question of the day. And this is a question based on something posted by Robert also. Does anyone else get disturbed by the word sploot?
What is disturbing about the word sploot?
Dylan
is a cute little dog laying down.
Dylan, how do you feel about the word sploot?
What is sploot?
Are you disturbed by it before you know what it is?
I'm intrigued.
You're intrigued.
I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you.
Go ahead. Throw us up a
audio listeners. I'm gonna show Dylan what a sploot looks like. It's corgi sploot, man. Look how they lay with their legs kicked straight out. Look, Dylan, look. How is that not adorable?
Wow. It's something.
Listen, sploot's a weird word. Okay. Speaking of weird, we got a weird story we're going to be talking about today. Give us just a few minutes. We'll be right back for You Like It Darker.
Dylan, I can't believe you don't like the sploot.
Well, it made me a little uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie.
Stephen Edwin King is an American author called the King of Horror. He has also explored other genres. We covered one of those on this here show. This is actually the 3rd book of his that we've done. And so if you do not know about King, you can find a vast amount of information on him on the net. Most likely you have seen a show or a movie inspired by one of his stories. And so we are covering one of those today called You Like It Darker. Robert, share with us a little bit about what we're doing today.
So You Like It Darker is a collection of short stories by Stephen King. There's 12 in total, and we're going to do some episodes. We're going to have one like this week, and some episodes we'll have multiple depending upon how long the stories are. Mm-hmm. This week's episode is called Two Talented Bastids. And the story follows Mark taking care of his elderly father, Laird Carmody. I think I said that right. I may have been wrong. A world famous author when he can no longer safely care for himself due to old age. Laird is being hounded by a journalist for information because he and his best friend Butch seemingly came from nothing in a small town to almost overnight instant success in their respective fields of art. So what is the secret behind Laird and Butch's success?
And you gotta love that name. Come on. And it actually is Bastids. Like you said.
I didn't listen to the audiobook, so I don't know if I'm going to butcher names as we go. I'm kind of hoping for you to save me.
I'll try my best.
I'm happy that it is pronounced Bastids.
That's
exactly how I read it
right.
in my head.
What's that one movie from Boston? Ben Affleck and his boy, Matt Damon. What was that one called?
Well,
real famous movie.
Well, there's The Departed, but I don't think Ben Affleck's in that one. Matt Damon is, though. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, one of my all-time favorite movies.
All right, go on. Sorry. I'm just derailed us really quick.
Now we're going to get back on track, guys. So, Laird and Butch, they've been small-town men their entire lives. They grew up best friends. They all worked in their town. And as they got older, they even kind of made a name for themselves in their town, and they kind of ran the town dump. And then they were like volunteer firefighters. And around this town dump, Butch was an aspiring painter. So we kind of paint murals all around the dump to kind of make it nicer for the city because the walls of a dump, Yeah. So he kind of make them nice. And then on the other hand, Laird, he always dreamed of being an author, but he could never quite get like anything he would write to stick or felt good enough or couldn't really figure out how to get a story to go. But then one day when they were in their mid 40s, they like struck it big. And the odd thing was they did it at the exact same time. And that first third of the book is kind of establishing the central mystery. How did Laird and Butch achieve this?
Yeah. So, right out the gate with the way that this started. So this is with the short stories. This was 3 chapters total in this. In the first chapter, I liked the setup. And to be honest, when the first chapter ended, I was like, man, how are you going to, how are they going to solve this mystery in like 2 more? Like it felt so vast and felt like there was so much. I loved I can't remember the dad's name, the writer, the author, man.
It was Laird Carmody. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I liked when the reporter comes to the house uninvited. I should talk to the son. He's like, there's no way he'll ever do an interview with you or whatever. And the son and the dad are walking through, checking out the flowers and all that kind of stuff. And she comes up to the fence. And so when she starts talking to him, I love the way he challenged her. He goes, I tell you what, I'm going to give you the greatest gift or whatever. You can ask me any 3 questions you want, knowing what he was doing, knowing he's putting her on the spot, knowing that this is a challenge, knowing that she's probably not going to ask him all the questions that she wants. So he's making her have to choose from the 500 questions that she'd probably sit in a room and ask him. And I thought that was a really cool scene. Probably my favorite scene in the first, because it just kind of shows like, that, hey, this dude might be 88 years old or whatever he was at this point, but dude's still kind of on top of his game as far as like trolling.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I actually really like that scene too. And it was in that scene that Stephen King gave us like all the backstory we really needed.
Oh, yeah.
For Laird and Butch and their friendship and, everything that evolved. And we kind of learned that Laird and Butch, woo.
That's staying in. I don't even care, bro. That's staying in. That's 100% staying in. That's not going anywhere. It's Butch. It's Butch. Hey, Butch was the man, dude. Okay,
Butch was the man.
He's in no way, shape, or form that thing that Robert said he was just a second ago.
No, not at all. I got to recompose. So Laird kind of stayed in Harlow his whole life, but Butch, he kind of dips and he goes to Seattle when he gets famous, to the point where Butch and Laird don't even really communicate, or it's alluded to. These 2 best friends quit communicating. when like every year they would take a camping trip in the woods, which is something that the interviewer learned from her 3 questions. They would all go out to the woods. They'd take a week long. They would just hunt, stay in this cabin, and they would just have a bro trip every year. But then in like 1978, something changed. Laird came back like he had seen a ghost. And then, you know, you kind of get to the point where Laird passes away and he leaves Mark a key. And in that key, Mark finds a manuscript that Laird wrote detailing that day in the woods. And that takes us to the second part of the book.
What blows me away about the death is I didn't know, and I haven't looked it up to see how, and I'm sure because, I mean, Stephen King is, I feel like probably a very well-researched writer. But dude, he breaks his hip and dies the next day.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened?
I think at the very beginning of the book, because when I went back and I was kind of going over my highlights, that kind of struck me as weird too. Like he broke his hip and died the next day, and I know he was owed.
Which I know he had the brittle bone type, whatever that disease was.
At the beginning of the book, though, they said that he died from when he was on his way to the hospital. He had several small strokes, and then he had one big stroke. So I guess when they were operating on the broken hip, he stroked out, and he had several strokes on the way to the hospital. That stroke thing is like in the first page of the book. So I completely forgot it by the time I got to the hip breaking.
Well, I forgot about it until you just now said it. Now it all was rushing back to me. Yeah, it kind of took me back. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. You know, he goes down and he's like, hey, I want you to take this. And I listened to the audiobook, and I'll say this, like the accent was all New England, Boston. And dude, it enhanced it big time for me.
I'm buying it.
Dude, all the people who narrate Stephen King books are unbelievable. So I mean, just truthfully, Holly was amazing. This is so far amazing. Now I've only done this first story. I don't know if it's the same narrator all the way through, but he does a great job with those Boston accents, and it just kind of brings you into the whole vibe of it. One thing that really stood out to me in this is just Stephen King. The minor details that he adds to things is unbelievable. Like, and I know we're getting ready to go into chapter 2, but the only thing I could think of off the top of my dome is when Butch and they're eating the pies or whatever.
Yeah,
they're like glazed pie. He goes, well, it's not really a glaze, is it? But it's like a sugar. You know what I'm talking about?
It's like host. I could picture that little hostess pie based off his description, like that flaky white glaze. It flakes off when you hold them. Yeah.
And he says it's a glaze. Well, it's not really a glaze, is it? It's more of like a sugar coat. Like the way he said that, I was like, oh, I know exactly what it is. You know what I mean? Like just the details that Stephen King throws into these things is just so out of this world, and it brings you into the story. And I was actually telling you this too, Robert, like living in rural areas. Like, I mean, you know, I moved to Columbus, Indiana, and this isn't like podunk town by any means, but like I was driving today as I was listening to this through the middle of nowhere, Indiana, and the way that Stephen King sets up an area, it just makes everything come to life for you, because they're talking about it being a redneck town, a small town, like this place where nothing really happens. And they have, you know, one restaurant and the grocery store, and the way that he just describes the town and the people within the town, you feel like, okay, I know exactly where this is. You know, even though I've never been here, I know what this is. He just does a really good job of describing areas and scenes and characters, and it just is starting to shine through even in this short story.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'll echo that. In the second chapter when we get to Butch and Laird's camping trip. The details, he set the stage. Like, dude, I could see myself in this cabin, in these woods, and just the way he gets the description going, and actually kind of like adds tension to it. So like, for instance, they have to cross this rickety bridge to get to the cabin, and they go one at a time because they're afraid their weight will make this little bridge collapse. I'm not going across that bridge, bruh. I don't care what cabin's over there. I'm out. But they did it. They did the thing. But we get to that second chapter. They're in the woods. They're setting the stage for everything. And after a couple days, Butch is like, man, the oddest thing, like, listen. And Laird's kind of listening. He's like, I don't hear anything. And Butch is like, exactly. We're in the woods. Like, where's the nature? Where's the birds? Mm-hmm. Where's the squirrels? Where's the deer? And to me, that's like, that started to raise like suspense and kind of a little bit of like dread. Because if I'm in the woods and I don't hear like wildlife around me, I'd be creeped out too, man.
Well, you remember like when the one crow caws or whatever, he goes, oh, there you go, there's a bed, you know, or whatever. However the accent, dude, my boss accent needs some work, but he says it and he goes, it's one crow, no big deal, you know, like, dude, they sound like mobsters in this and it's hilarious. But anyway, he's like, it's one crow, no big deal, you know. He goes, but it's wildlife, you know. It's just like they kind of have their banter in this is like, it's just two bros hanging out in the woods, like trolling each other. I love it. But yeah, dude, that was a very cool, suspenseful moment. I'm ready to talk about what happens next, bro.
Man, what happens next is pretty much what I loved. Like the whole time I thought the story was going to be something else. But when it flipped and turned into what it was and there was aliens, I was like, okay, I love aliens. Let's freaking go, baby. So they had Butch saw like some lights and some clouds, and the way he described them was really cool. But by far, my favorite part of this is like he gets his camera. He's taking pictures of these lights. And Stephen King makes a little note that, you know, years later, Butch has this film developed and his pictures of this alien spaceships is all blurry and grainy and you can't tell what it was, even though it was a clear day outside and nothing was marring his camera lens. I love that as a play on why every time we have a UFO sighting or an alien sighting or Bigfoot, it's some grainy footage.
Or a dragon flying around a castle.
Hey, that was a great one, dude. I love that like little tidbit for me. Like that's good.
Well, and I like too, because they did the most human thing ever in that scene, you know, is afterwards. It's like, well, what do you think? Isn't there a town that's like 15 miles up this way? Could it have been the lights reflecting off of the cloud that's creating this imagery? And maybe we're just seeing, you know, they start going through all of it. And it's Laird that's going through and saying all these things. And then Butch just sitting there in silence goes, that's all bull crap, isn't it? And Butch is like, yeah. You know, like, yeah, dude, we saw what we saw, you know. But I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, I would do that, you know.
I would too, yeah.
Because the last thing you want to say is that, hey, I saw alien spacecraft. Me and Robert, we were out in the woods and we saw aliens. It's like, do you want to go home and say that to your friends? No. I'm going to start trying to make, dude, did we actually see what we saw, you know? And he did that. And so it just added to the complexity of like how we would react in that situation. I think that was very much what we all would do. Exactly.
And you try to comprehend something that you can't explain.
Sure.
And I could see me definitely doing that. That was a good call. They kind of go to sleep, I think. Like it spooks them after that happens. So like, we're going to get out of here. So the very next day, they're trying to leave at first light and they get to the rickety bridge and they find a woman passed out on the bridge. So they both run out there and get her. And she ended up being an alien. And the way he described the aliens was really cool. Like Laird grabs her boots to try and pick her up, but his hands go like into her boots. And like they said, her legs kind of look like corduroy pants. And he described it as if she was made out of Play-Doh, or they used the phrase Gumby, which for the Dylans and younger, Gumby was like a green humanoid like creature made of clay back from
Dylan, 90s. Have you ever heard of Gumby, bro?
I've heard of Gumby before.
But you know, when he's doing mouth to mouth, he was like, it reminds me of like the plastic that people put over couches or whatever. And he's talking about like, he's like, this is the weirdest thing, but he kept doing it. So like, and it's interesting because as that alien is coming back around or whatever, because they're doing the mouth to mouth and then they get an EpiPen and do all the EpiPen thing and all that stuff. And as that alien starts to, I guess, recover, the clothing starts to take more shape, and they're like, and what was it? He was like, "Hey, check her pockets now. I bet you can maybe even find a mint or some change in there." You know, like because it's all becoming, you know, different. You know, that was very interesting take on aliens, which I dug too. It was really, really cool.
Dude, it was actually, and it was kind of creepy too. They like bring her back to the cabin and throw her on the couch, and they're trying to communicate with her. And then like this light just fills the room up and they pass out.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was in Butch's head they were going through. Like, he's just like, oh, this is what it's like when you die.
Yeah.
And he never expected to wake up from that. And you're kind of in this person's frame of mind as they think if they're taking their last breaths, which Stephen King, man, shout out, because I was into that scene.
Yeah, well, he even said, didn't he say something along the lines of like, it was such a intense moment that he welcomed it. He was like, I'm okay with this ending now, kind of thing. And it was, which was pretty crazy. So yeah, that was crazy. Then you got the next scene.
The next scene where like the young man sitting on the couch, they awaken from that like near death experience they thought they were having to an alien chilling on the couch. He's just hanging out. And then we go from there, dude. That's where kind of he has a case, and I think it was described as a metal silver case that looked like something you keep glasses in.
Yeah. It's like a waves on it or something, right?
Yeah, you're right. It had waves in the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the way it works is you have to breathe on this case and it will open and it will give you a gift, but only if like the talent was already there. Otherwise, it's axiomatic. It's not going to give you something that you don't possess. And they kind of asked this alien questions like, what are you guys doing here? And I thought it was cool. The alien's like, oh, we collect junk. We just like to go to yard sales and buy your like random stuff and analyze it.
Well, it's funny because he said what, Judge Judy picture,
Judge Judy.
like autographed Judge Judy picture, and then like they gave the alien a beer, and he's like, "Can I keep this can?" And Butch was like, "I mean, you're taking a 10 cents deposit from me, but do what you need to do. I'll let it go since you're from another planet or whatever." And so, they just basically, what do you call? He said it's the French word veneer. And they're like, you mean souvenir? And he's like, oh yes, we collect souvenirs from planets. There's not very many planets that have intelligent life or whatever.
And my favorite part of that interaction with that alien, which Stephen King fans, you guys know what's up right here. I definitely was like, okay, I get that reference. They ask him about like the rest of the universe, like what's some of the other life forms like out there. And he goes, oh, well, the rest of the universe is mostly deadlights. And that was like a little bit like, oh man, because, if you're the big fans of It will know Pennywise is a deadlight. He's made up of those deadlights. And I believe deadlights are referenced in Stephen King's Dark Tower book. So I like how he like always is trying to connect all his stuff together. But love that little nod. Shout out Pennywise, by far Stephen King's most iconic character.
Yep. So, I mean, after that, we can start to get ready for our lightning round. But just there's one question I want to ask you, but I want to get to that point first. Yeah. They get to this box. The alien leaves a box and tells them, hey, because you gave breath to my friend, Yellow or whatever, Yella. I think that was the alien's name, the girl's name, what they say. He's like, we wanted to give you a gift. You gave breath, so you need to breathe on this box, essentially. And so they both breathe on the box. And when they inhale, they get like a mint or spearmint flavor type thing. And then they pass out, essentially. Yep. And they're like, well, did we just get poisoned? And they wake up the next morning and Butch is able to draw or paint. I think it was draw. He drew a picture of the alien guy who came, but his eyes were made of stars, essentially. Yeah. Whatever was like, what's the other character's name again, dude? You've said it 1,000. Laird. Wow, dude, man. Laird's like, this is amazing. That looks amazing, And he's like, in his mind, you could tell it's like way better than what Butch usually does. And Laird starts to develop an idea for his own story, a story that he wrote, when he was younger, or at least thought through when he was younger, but could never really bring to fruition. And so he starts to be able to put stories together and all this stuff. And so then, this is kind of where their gifts or the things, the arts that they loved, they became, like you said earlier, excelled at it. They became famous for it after this trip. And so, the son goes out to the cabin, and here's where one of my questions jumps in. I want to ask you this because I wasn't 100% sure I caught what happened here. You know how the son, okay, so the son reads all this. I don't want us to get lost in this, but the son reads this whole story his dad wrote about what happened that night. His son's like, well, I want to go out to the cabin. Something's going on. There's taxes paid. And they explain some of that for 40 years because they wanted to keep the cabin untouched. And so he goes out to this cabin that is clearly, has not been kept up. No one goes out and takes care of this cabin. It's just this rundown cabin. So he goes out there. There's subdivisions built around this land, and he's talking about how he's assuming it's been vandalized. Kids have probably been out there and messed with it. All these different things. The box that his dad wrote about is probably gone, but he shows up. And he's like, there, it was as if there was a ring around it protecting the cabin. I don't know if I fully grasped why. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so this cabin's untouched, but you do have subdivisions around it. Stuff's starting to be built around it, so it's not like this super rural area anymore. People are starting to inhabit those spaces. And so we all know, man, a building's abandoned, people are going in it. We're all, we're doing those things. And so, but he makes kind of like, it feels to me at least like it's kind of a big deal. Like when King was even writing it, it felt as if he was implying that there was something happening that prevented people from doing it, unless I've just completely missed something there.
So he did describe that there was a ring around where the cabin was, but it was like the Butch and Laird had put a fence up, like a property fence, and they had like no trespassing signs all over it.
But the trespassing sign was goofy though, remember?
Yeah, it was like don't hoppity on my property or something, like put a frog goofy on it. He described when Mark got through the fence to the cabin like itself was kind of dilapidated and it was getting run down, and he went in the cabin and it was like mice had taken over and stuff, but like that couch was still there, albeit like full of bugs and mice. And then he found the case on the mantle. Why that case would have remained there all those years untouched, I don't know, because I'm kind of like you. I feel like at some point some teenagers are growing in there. There's going to be like some local urban legend around that, dude.
Yeah. Well, and the way you described it was that like the only destruction of the cabin was really age. Yeah. Like, the roof from the snowfall, and like you said, mice and bugs and dust. Cause he was talking about when he looked at the couch, it was like, I would sit on that couch, but then I'd be sitting on a layer of dust and mice might come running out from underneath of it. But he was talking about how he was kind of looking around the cabin and he could picture like his dad and Butch hanging out in that corner, and they even found some beer cans or whatever and things like that. So I don't know. For some reason I was like, well, is he implying that there's some sort of protection over this cabin or what? Because he even said, he goes, the sign hippity don't hoppity on my property ain't going to keep kids off of property. And so I don't know. That was one of my things where I was like, I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe I'm missing something here.
Dude, I think you definitely done put something in my head that I didn't even think too much about. So now I'm wondering if there's something there I missed.
Hey, you know what? If you're doing this book club with us, that's why we're doing the book club. Maybe we missed something. If you know what that something is, man, share it with us in Discord. We need to solve the mystery of why this cabin was left untouched. All right, bro, before we get in the lightning round, you got anything else?
This was a really strong start to the short story collection. I was blown away. I was like initially kind of nervous going in, but after reading this one, I'm excited to read the rest of them. For sure.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. All right. Well, let's get into lightning round. We all know what the deal is with this. We have a few questions that we're going to ask, and there's a couple of these that even our boy, sweet baby Dylan, can jump in on with us. You have 1 minute to answer each of these. Let's go ahead and get it popping. If you were to blow on the case, because we mentioned that they had to use their air because they gave air to Yellow. You guys get your minds out the gutter, okay? Get your minds out the gutter. If you were to blow on the case and suddenly be a world-class talent at something, what would it be? Dylan, we'll start with you, bro.
I'd be a unicyclist.
What an answer.
There's not even anything to say about that. I mean, all right. Cool. Dylan wants to join the circus. Robert.
I believe I would go back to the 13 minutes when I thought I was going to be a food blogger, and I would just run with it, dude. I would just become a food blogger full time.
Wow. Okay. Nice. I thought about this a little bit, and I was like, I would music would be something, but I was like, man, I enjoy it. I already do it, not to like some world-class level. But if I were to do something I don't do currently, and I would be able to, I'd be a world-class linguist. I would learn multiple languages and be like a polyglot and be able to walk into a room of people who speak 15 different languages and be able to, speak to everybody and be really cool. So, all right, here we go. Robert, the young alien said, nothing can give you what isn't already there. Do you think the case enhanced their specific crafts, or was it a placebo effect? I don't know if we got a lot into that in our discussion, but that was kind of the thing, and that's what the alien told them when he gave them the box. So, Robert, what do you think?
So, initially, I thought it was a placebo effect, because they kind of established that Butch was an artist already with the dump murals, and Laird was already an author. He was just having trouble piecing things together. But the more I thought about it, the more I think, especially because of the end, I believe that when they blew on the case, they had that natural talent to be decent at something, and whatever power they got from the case took that talent and enhanced it and took it to the next level and kind of unlocked this other part of their brain to make it click and have it all come together for them.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, and I think one thing too is, when they woke up and he made the drawing of the young man.
Yeah.
And it was like worlds beyond what he was able to do before. And the fact that it wasn't that he was like, oh, look, I got this power now. He just woke up and decided to do that. And he did it just to a superb level. And so, yeah, I'm with you. All right, here we go. Why do you think the case stayed closed when Mark tried to open it?
He didn't have anything he was talented at. Stephen King throws a little bit of sad stuff in his book sometimes. And it's Mark's destiny, or his fate as it was written in this universe, was really not to be like some famous celebrity. It was just to live a humble ho-hum life in the small town of Harlow, man.
That was it. He did it was kind of funny that now we're talking about this, how in the last, the last chapter, the last few pages, it really went into, well, let me tell you a little about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never really done anything. I have no kids. My wife is gone. My dad's gone. I don't have anything going for myself, kind of deal. And like you said, yeah, definitely brought in a little sad moment there. So yeah, that's good. All right. Dylan, we'll start with you on this one. What is your favorite alien from pop culture?
So I feel like I'm kind of tied on two of these, but one, obviously, like I said earlier, Predator, I feel like is up there for sure. But also another one, Keaton actually talked about this when you guys were talking about Spielberg movies on the Ready Player One episode, and he was talking about the War of the Worlds aliens. Yeah. Dude, those have haunted me since I was a child. I think those are phenomenal. I actually love that movie a lot. So I would say those aliens. And every time I think of an alien invasion, I imagine that movie. So,
all right, Robert.
I'm going to go ahead and answer the cute little aliens from Toy Story because of the claw. That whole scene, dude.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, we talked about him recently. It's E.T. I always liked E.T., bro. It's a great movie. All right. Last thing, we always shut down our book segments with this question. Describe this one in 3 words, or give 3 words. It doesn't have to be describing the story necessarily, but 3 words that come to mind when you think of this story, Robert.
Aliens, not lovers.
Ooh, that's good. Hey, King called some people out in this one, didn't he? All right. I put my 3 were PG King story.
Hey, nice.
I feel like you don't have very many King stories that are PG. This one, he kept it PG, bro. As far as King stories go, outside that last few pages, this one felt fairly wholesome in a lot of ways.
I'll agree with that.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. That closes up our first ever of this kind of books club style deal. And we're excited to continue reading more of this one. Robert, give us the title of this story one last time. Use your best Boston accent.
All right, dude, let me line it up. Here we go.
Go.
Two talented bastards.
Perfect. All right, guys, on that note, we're going to jump right in to some nerdy news.
But can we get Dylan's Boston accent to lead us into nerdy news?
Yeah, Dylan. All right, Dylan, before we kick into nerdy news, bro, you got to give us a Boston accent, brother. I did one and mine was terrible. You can't be much worse than me, dude.
What do Boston people say?
Just hit us with the famous Departed scene. Are you a cop? I'm not a cop. Are you a cop?
I don't know if I can do that one, but what did you say? Two talented bastards? I can probably say. Oh god, this is gonna be so bad. I don't really know how to say the too talented part, but like the bastards after like this
Bastids.
Bastids.
You're going too much on the R there, bro.
Bastids?
Yes.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Talented bastards.
Perfect. All right. Lead us into this nerdy news.
Yeah, I'm excited for nerdy news this week. It's been a few weeks since I've gotten to do this. So I'm excited to be back on with our nerdy news from the Nerdy Reads podcast. And every time you tune into an episode of the Nerdy Reads podcast, you can expect some of the latest and greatest news beyond the Nerdverse. So we always kick off the sighting of a week every time we do nerdy news. So this one actually came from a suggestion from Robert himself. Something I never actually thought of looking on these sightings is looking on Reddit for these. And so I'm actually like, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that's actually a genius spot to look for these because we can probably find a bunch of stuff. So expect some more Reddit stuff coming in the future. And this one comes from Reddit user SNDster08. I think that's how you say it. And basically it is more of a paranormal kind of sighting this week. And so the description that this user gives is a coworker said she moved into a new house a couple months back. After a few weeks, she started to feel tired and having problems sleeping. Another coworker made the recommendation to buy cameras for her bedroom and living room, so maybe she could find any reason why she couldn't sleep well during the night. Then a few days later, she showed us these pictures during our break time. She's the only person living in the house. And my man Robert has these pictures pulled up. The first one has like two heads peeking out of the blankets. And then this one has, like, you can see them like little two heads for the people that are watching the video version of this. And then the person on like under a blanket, almost like sitting up like in a horror movie or something like that. And then the last one is like this little blur of something in the kitchen. Which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at these, if you're not watching the video version, go check them out in the Discord. Pretty interesting, I thought. Definitely creepy. I'm a big paranormal guy, so I think seeing ghost sightings is actually pretty cool and interesting to me. I get like lost on TikTok watching stuff like that all the time. So, but be sure to join our Discord. You can see them in there if you're not watching the video version for all of our audio users.
Yeah, if you have a blurry photo like that, bro. That's always ghosties.
Oh yeah.
Hey, dude, that first picture to me is the creepiest one because it's like she lives alone. She doesn't have any dogs or kids, she says in the post. And it's straight up like, dude, if you want to look at it, you want to be like, man, is that a kid? Because that creeped me out when I saw it. The other two, it's like, some dust got on the screen. I don't know. That first one a little creepy.
I mean, even if you have kids, it's still creepy. Like if I'm sleeping and it's like 3 a.m. and my kids are caught on video just standing over my bed.
Oh, nah, bro.
I'm moving out.
I'm drop kicking somebody. That's just straight up. Now the second picture where the blanket's standing up, in the comments on that Reddit thread, someone's like, it looks like someone was turning over in their sleep and the camera just went off at the right moment. To me, I explained that, but then we just talked about when we're humans and we see something we don't understand, we try and comprehend it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go real.
All right, bro. I'm taking, the blurry photo, man. It's a ghost. That's a ghost standing there, bro.
That's true. I mean, every sighting has to be blurry for it to be real. I mean,
Yeah, dude. If it's not blurry, it's not real.
Exactly. All right, dude. So our first like piece of news, I guess, is actually the trailer for the Venom Last Dance has released. I don't know if you guys are Venom fans, but I love the Venom movies. They get a lot of hate, but I love Tom Hardy playing as Eddie Brock. But with this trailer, some people were really bashing it and hating on it. And there's one dude that literally said, which I find this kind of ironic. He literally said, "This looks like it has no plot and it's just a bunch of random sequences." And I was like, well, you just watched 30 seconds of a trailer. So, I mean, that's kind of what a trailer is. It's a bunch of sequences, put together. You don't want the full plot of the movie. But anyway, I watched the trailer. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if you guys have watched it. I don't know what your opinion is on Venom. I personally love the movies. I think they're good movies. I think they're a fun watch. I think it's kind of a little more goofy, but it also can be serious at the same time. So what do you guys think?
So I will, this is a Father of the Year moment right now, but me and Oliver are big fans of Venom movies.
Yes.
So we'll both watch those. I'm with you, dude. I know they get a lot of hate and I don't understand it because I actually enjoy the Venom movies. Like you said, there's a good blend of comedy mixed with kind of the seriousness and even violence at times. I think the Venom suit, whatever symbiote suit or what, not symbiote, I don't even know what you call it, but I think Venom's hilarious. And so, yeah, I think it's good, man. I did watch the trailer and I'm pretty excited about it. Again, it's a trailer. I don't know. How do you hate on a trailer for being a trailer? It's a trailer. Like it's not telling you a story. It's just giving you scenes and action scenes to try to get you hyped for the thing. So,
yep,
looks fine.
I've never seen the Venom movies.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. I definitely recommend you watch them.
You also recommend he watch Madam Web, so I don't know if you picture.
Wait, is this the same universe?
It is made by Sony, so sort of. Yeah. It's on the same level as Morbius and Madam Web and the new Craven movie that's going to be coming out here soon. But hey, look.
I love that you just hit him with the wow. Okay.
Look, I'm going to get to a place where I trust Justin and Dylan. And if they tell me Venom's worth my time, I will watch Venom. I'll watch. Is there two? Is there two of these I have to watch?
There's two.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check the first one out and report back.
I'm a big Tom Hardy guy. I think everything that Tom Hardy does is phenomenal.
Is he Bane? Tom Hardy?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'll check this movie out. Does he do the Bane voice? Is he like,
yeah? Well, no, he doesn't do that. Well, I feel like Venom kind of has that Bane voice to him, though.
It does.
Bit, but I feel like Tom Hardy is just such a dynamic actor. Like he has so many different roles and different that are completely different characters, and I think that's really cool.
And plus, he goes and wins Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments in his free time.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool.
He's a real deal warrior, bro.
Mm-hmm. Hey, dude, he's not going to marry you, bro. Next.
That's Toby. He's calm down.
Wow. There you go.
But, yeah, so our next piece of news we already sort of talked about a little bit earlier on the show, and they dropped an epic trailer for the Deadpool popcorn bucket, which is literally just Wolverine's face with his mouth open, which is where you get the popcorn out. And in this trailer, I think it's hilarious. It's in Deadpool fashion. It's him very suggestively running his hand up and down this beautiful masterpiece of a Wolverine popcorn bucket and putting butter on his face as it slowly comes down as well. It's great. It's actually hilarious. Little trailer that they dropped for it.
I have the 20-second trailer right here. If Justin has not seen it and would like to take a look.
Let's throw it up, bro. While Dylan's telling us about it, let's throw it up there. Dylan, you already said you're purchasing this popcorn bucket, yes?
Day one. It's I'm making the purchase 100%. You got to have the sound. I don't hear this.
We don't need the sound.
Oh,
Why is
gave
the
me
tongue
It's
textured?
so epic.
Well, we don't need the sound right now because it'll sound so muffled, but
That's okay. That's okay.
Look at this thing.
Dylan, you'll have this popcorn bucket, huh?
Yeah.
Do they have a price for this thing yet?
I have no idea, but whatever it is, I'm paying it.
I'm gonna assume 24.
Wow. Oh man.
Oh my god.
It's great. Dude.
Oh man. If you're an audio listener, we're sorry. If you're a video listener, we're also sorry.
Day one.
Next!
I'm purchasing it. So yeah, our next piece of news, was coming. The Acolyte will be out by the time this episode airs. The Acolyte, the first 2 episodes will be here, and I will bring a full review next week of what my opinion is on it. I'm skeptical. There are things that I loved that I've seen so far. There's things that I have questioned as a Star Wars fan, but I will bring a full review next week. But our bonus news, I got a little bonus tidbit. It's not really news, but I thought I would throw it in here because I thought it was really cool. So I've discovered, I don't know how I haven't discovered this, but I've discovered Bat in the Sun. It is a YouTube channel that does super epic like battles. Basically it's called Superpower Beatdown, and basically it does a live action battle between like a bunch of different nerdy characters like superheroes and things like that. So I actually sent you guys a couple of the videos earlier, and one of them was Gandalf versus Darth Vader, which was really cool. I liked seeing them fight. They also had one that was really good that was like the White Ranger versus Scorpion, and that video featured a cameo from like Jason David Frank himself, like talking about why he thinks the White Ranger would win that battle, of course, not being biased or anything. But they also had a Wolverine versus Predator one, which I thought was really cool because I actually talked about that on the Optic Blast broadcast on our recent episode. So be sure to check that out. And then they also have one that's like Captain America versus Master Chief, which I thought was super sick. And like they have a bunch of them. They're really good. They're like fan-made films, and they were made like 10 years ago, and they're like really high quality. So if you haven't seen any of those, go check them out. It's Bat in the Sun on YouTube. Just go look that up. They have a lot of cool stuff over there. Like I said, that's not really news. It was just a little tidbit that I wanted to throw in there because I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, a little cool little promo. I like that.
And it's an also nice plug for Optic Blast broadcast. I remember you guys talking about that Wolverine and Predator, was it, comic, and how I think you said it was a 4-issue run and they're going to revisit it. You guys should definitely do an episode on that. I'll tune in.
Oh yeah. I think we will for sure. I'm very interested in reading those myself. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's it for Nerd News, isn't it, Dylan?
Yes, sir.
My man. Well, hey, we're grateful to have you back. Thanks for being here, my man.
I'm glad to be back.
Robert, you know what time it is.
Man, Justin, it's time for What's Hot. We here at the Nerdy Reads podcast can't read everything, but we like to bring you something that's popular around the bookverse. And today, that is horror movie by best-selling author of The Cabin at the End of the World, Paul Tremblay. I'm sure I said that wrong, Paul. If you're a listener, I'm sorry.
Cabin at the End of the World?
Yeah, Cabin at the End of the World. Dude wrote that. New book coming out.
Cool.
In June of 1993, a group of young filmmakers spent 4 weeks making horror movie, a notorious, disturbing art house horror flick. Only 3 scenes were ever released to the public, but horror movie developed a niche following with the rabid fan base. The man who played the Thin Kid is the only surviving cast member, and he remembers all too well the secrets buried within the original screenplay and the bizarre events that occurred during filming. Horror movie is billed as a psychologically chilling and suspenseful twist on the cursed film genre. It's currently sitting at a 3.92 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. This one drops this Tuesday, June 11th. And they kept saying cursed film genre, and I was looking horror books to kind of tie in with Stephen King book this week, and I was like, what is a cursed film? Was that like The Ring, Grudge, or VHS? Is that?
It sounds more like, was it Scream 3 or Scream 4 or one of those movies that kind of have a similar vibe to it?
Yeah, well, anyways, I'm interested in this one, dude. I actually threw it on my personal TBR because this is the kind of stuff I like to read in October.
Yep, beautiful.
And coming up next on the Nerdy Reads podcast, guys, join us back here next week as we dive further into You Like It Darker with Willie the Weirdo and Finn. We're going to cover 2 short stories next week because they are very short. So join us, read along with us in the Discord or the Fable app.
Yes, we encourage you to do that. Jump in there, talk about the stories. Again, there's things I think me and Robert probably missed in this last one. Tell us, share with us some of those things. We would love to hear from you. Guys, it's been a fun episode tonight. We talked about 2 talented Bastids, and we had my dudes over there tried a Crunchwrap with a Cheez-It because, why not? Every time fast food crimes happen, we will most likely do them on this show. And if you have any recommendations that you would like for us to do here, please get on the Discord, get on our Facebook or Instagram, and tell us what those things might be. We did some nerdy news. We welcome back Dylan. We have been looking forward to having our friend back with us. We have a lot of things going on, including our the book club. We're going to have some other things that we're going to be doing here in the next few weeks. And so you're going to want to keep up with the things that we're doing here on the Nerdy Reads podcast. Robert, where can they find us at?
You can find us over on Facebook, Instagram, and Goodreads at the Nerdy Reads podcast. And guess what, guys? You can now find us over on YouTube. Dylan, tell them about it.
Yeah, so like Robert said, we are on YouTube now. So be able to be sure to jump over there and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell thing to be notified. Hit the little bell thing to be notified anytime we drop a video because you won't want to miss it. You want to see the video version of this show because we do some crazy things and we talk about some crazy things. And whenever you don't have the video, you don't get to visually see what we're talking about. And that just enhances what we have going on here. So be sure to check out our YouTube because we got something special going on over there and it's a good time. And you can see our beautiful faces. So hop on over there. Come on.
Especially Dylan's face.
It is, dude. Look at it.
And you get to see the little dainty hand gestures he made when he said, hit that little bell. Hit that little bell, Guys, we're also on Discord. Hey, one thing we would like to ask you guys to do, if you have not given us a rating yet, wherever you listen, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, if it is on YouTube, hit our like buttons, do all that kind of stuff. Go and give us a review on Facebook. It really does help out the show. It helps people find us. It helps people when they go and find Nerdy Reads and they see that it's a show that's well liked. Maybe they'll check us out. So that really does help, and we would appreciate you doing that. And so, guys, we know we can never end an episode. Last week we did our best Dylan impression, but nothing's like the real thing. Today, we're back to having some advice from sweet baby Dylan. Hit us, man.
Listen.
Oh, gosh, dude. It's getting so bad now. The dramatic pause is getting so long.
Our advice this week comes from a listener of the show. I had some help on this one. Listener of the show, Harry P.
Ooh.
Salami P.
Slimy P?
Salami P.
You said slimy P, dude. I was like, hold up, bro.
Salami P. Okay, he gave
me
this advice the other day. He looked at me and he said, listen. He didn't say listen. I said listen. He didn't say listen. But anyway.
Thanks for the clarification.
If you hate waking up early, just wake up later.
Oh my.
That's the most Harrison advice I've ever heard.
Harrison, thanks, man.
Guys, here at Nerdy Reads Podcast, we enjoy a good story. We believe your story matters, so be good to each other. stay nerdy, our friends. Say bye, Dylan.
Goodbye, brother.